Tank Bigsby is tweeting emojis. LaQuint Allen is squaring up, ready to punch someone in the face. Every Green Bay Packers player, I believe at this point, has been diagnosed with a rare 1800s malady that no one even knows what it is. Let's draft the Best Ball Mania team, find a winner.
It's Short King Summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short King Summer.
All right, everyone, we are sitting here in a Best Ball Mania draft. We are very excited to be drafting out of the 6th spot. I just did a meaningful update to my rankings. Nothing too much changed in the first round. Actually, that's not true. I did make 2 key decisions in the first round. The first one being I moved Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of Justin Jefferson. I have capitulated to big fantasy football. I do still have Gibbs and Jefferson ahead of Barkley, although I am happy to take Barkley whenever he gets to 6. I mean, am I a slappy? Yes, I am a slappy. I don't think I am enough of a slappy to pass up on Barkley right there. I also did move Puka Nacua officially down to that tier. So I moved Puka Nacua to 10, moved him below Nico Collins, moved him below Neighbors. That was not where I had him before. Bang. Happy to take Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm happy to take any of these players, right? I am happy to take Barkley. I'm happy to take McCaffrey. What first round pick can you complain about? I personally am not complaining about any first round pick, which I think is, I mean, that is how you know fantasy football is in a good spot, is when every first round pick basically feels great. Chase feels great. Bijan feels great. Barkley feels great. Jefferson feels great. Lamb feels great. Gibbs feels great. Nico Collins feels great. I mean, honestly, I suppose the only one that does not feel great is Puka Nacua, and it doesn't really have anything to do with Mr. Nacua himself, right? I mean, that is basically irrelevant. It's all Matthew Stafford and his immortal chamber. Although I did do a little bit more digging, a little bit more research on this chamber, and the Airstream that showed up at the Rams facility, that was already scheduled. This wasn't specifically for Matt Stafford. It wasn't for, an injured player. This is basically like, honestly, this was basically like a marketing event. Like, effectively, this was a marketing partnership between the Los Angeles Rams and Immortal, not Immortal, Immortal. So was this anything to be like concerned about? Like, oh, Matt Stafford needs this crazy hyperbaric like, dude, Matt Stafford could practice tomorrow. So I don't like, does your concern meter need to be higher? Yeah, your concern meter should be a little bit higher on Puka Nacua and on that offense in general, just because he was not able to practice on Monday when he said that he was going to practice. So we're about to pick at 19 here. I'm happy taking Ladd. I'm happy taking Chase Brown. I'm also happy to take Bowers. I'm just not going to fault a Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers start. I think every Brock Bowers team is a little bit of a gift. Are we going to be a little bit behind on wide receiver on this one? Yeah, we'll probably be a little bit behind on wide receiver, particularly because one of the big updates I made to my rankings was I did move both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen up. I had them behind of average draft position for a while because I thought that the risk reward of taking a quarterback that early was not great. I just didn't really think that the payoff was there. But the more I've been thinking about it, some of the wide receivers that I like are featured in the 4th round. We've got, George Pickens, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jameson Williams. And then the 5th round is full of wide receivers I like. Jalen Waddle, Travis Hunter, Devonta Smith. Like, I like conceptually all these guys. Cam Ward. I just think a Gibbs Bowers feels phenomenal. I think we are going to want a lot of Gibbs Bowers teams because I think we can make it up here at wide receiver. I would take Tyreek here. I know the vibes are really shifting against Tyreek, so he goes. I do kind of want to do it. I think we should try and do the double elite onesie build. You know what? Let's just, I have very few of these combinations. Let's try it. Let's do it. Josh Allen's on the thumbnail. Let's do Josh Allen. So through 3 picks, Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, and Josh Allen. We are going to try it. I don't know if it's any good, but we are going to try it. And there are plenty of ways for us to catch up at wide receiver. Like, let me sort my queue by ADP. So at 43, I should have the ability to pick between Worthy, McLaurin, Pickens, Rice, Moore, JMO. And then at my next pick, which is, 54? Worst case scenario, you've got Waddle, Hunter, Flowers, even Adunze. I think I'm going to be able to bail myself out of this one. This will be a 2 quarterback build. This will be a 2 tight end build, so I can go with 8 wide receivers if I want. I think this will actually end up being okay. And Josh Allen is one of my biggest guys that I am wanting to increase my portfolio percentage of. I've been doing these drafts. Since January. It is August 12th. We've been doing these drafts since January. And probably the players I have the least dollar exposure to are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jaden Daniels, which just feels unconscionable. If you think of the way fantasy football works, like, sure, on aggregate, is the most likely winning strategy this year going to be Brock Purdy? Is the most likely winning strategy this year going to be Justin Fields? Like, yes, Justin Fields is definitely a better quote unquote fantasy football pick than Josh Allen. It's a better value-based drafting, which was the big football guys thing from back in the day. Definitely is better value-based drafting. But I don't really care. Because sometimes you just want the guy who can put up 50 burgers, and no one can put up 50 burgers the way that Josh Allen can. Happy to take McLaurin here. I was going to say I'm also happy to take George Pickens here. So I am going to take McLaurin. I'm going to understand that in taking McLaurin, I have taken a little bit less of a ceiling at my first wide receiver. Like Terry McLaurin, what do you have? 13 receiving touchdowns last year, 14 receiving touchdowns last year. And in that span, he was not even in half PPR. 13 touchdowns last season. If I look up 2024 fantasy points in half PPR, I'm going to guess McLaurin was not a top 5 wide receiver. I actually honestly do not remember. In terms of total points in half PPR, Terry McLaurin finished as the wide receiver 6. And in terms of points per game, Terry McLaurin finished the wide receiver 15. I mean, it's not things that make you feel good when you click on a guy, but we accept that, right? That is a decision that I made. I knew that I just needed a wide receiver. I could have taken Moore. I could have taken Metcalf. Either of would have been fine. But now I can know that building forward. So, for example, at this pick right here, man, I do really want to take Travion Henderson, but I need a wide receiver too bad. At this pick right here, I'm going to take Jalen Waddle instead of I am going to take Jalen Waddle. Game theory wise, I almost wanted to take Zay Flowers. It's kind of one of those interesting game theory things where the combinatorial ownership of Terry McLaurin and Josh Allen is very low, and the combinatorial ownership of Josh Allen and Zay Flowers is really low. You are also, if you have Josh Allen and then you have those two guys, you are putting the death knell in any given championship round into Lamar Jackson and into Jaden Daniels with that combinatorial pairing. So I really like that move. So through 5 rounds, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Josh Allen, Terry McLaurin, and Jalen Waddle. Things could get a little tricky if Adunze, Olave, Pearsall, and Diggs all go. Frankly, even with Josh Allen, I'm not really that into drafting Khalil Shakir. I certainly am not that in to drafting Dalton Kincaid. I'll tell you one guy that I did pull up a little bit higher than I thought in my most recent iteration of rankings, which you can find over at patreon.com/DavisMattic, is, let me sort by my ranking. So I moved Mooney down a good bit, but Keon Coleman, I moved Keon Coleman up to 93. I can't really think of a good reason to be taking Khalil Shakir over Keon Coleman right now. He's going to be injured to start the year. Keon Coleman, the year 2 breakout, better yards per route run than Worthy. I don't know, man. It feels as if the Slappies have sort of already made their decision on Keon Coleman, and they should probably undecide, because I don't think that they have made the correct decision there. So we have a 1-1-2-1. We definitely need a wide receiver. Now, which is the most likely one to come back? Goodness gracious. This got dark. I'm going to take Diggs and hope that Jennings gets around to me. I've noted this anecdotally, just that I've seen Jennings fall far more often than I've seen Diggs fall. Diggs is the opposite of a faller in fantasy drafts right now. Diggs is like a pure riser, as he should be. It's August 12th. He's healthy. He's practicing. He's there. We feel pretty good about Drake May. A little bit of divisional correlation there, obviously, between the Patriots and the Bills. I wonder if the Patriots and the Bills play in the fantasy football playoffs. I actually don't know. I don't know the answer to this. It's hard to say. But either way, can't hurt, right? And Montgomery or Pollard is a riser, Pacheco is a riser, Laporta ahead of ADP, Caleb Johnson going at ADP. I did a draft earlier today where I got Caleb Johnson at 83. I think this is going to end up working exactly in my favor. Joe Mixon goes. Wow. So Jennings, as predicted, does come all the way back around. I feel like I played that one very, very well. So now our wide receiver room. I mean, look, this is not the greatest wide receiver room. It is not the worst wide receiver room, though. Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Steph Diggs, Juwan Jennings. We have, a big beta there in Jalen Waddle. But I think theoretically a huge breakout in Juwan Jennings. Something I did notice in this draft, our boy Matthew Golden was selected at pick 62 in this draft. Dontavian Wicks is injured. Romeo Doubs injured his back today. I think the only healthy Packers wide receivers right now are Savion Williams and Matthew Golden, the 2 rookies. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of Jaden Reed doing the push-ups with the broken foot, but I wouldn't say that it is seeming particularly bullish for anyone. Christian Watson is on PUP, by the way. Oh, and actually, I forgot to mention, I lied about Savion Williams anyway. Savion Williams was, quote, from Andy Herman NFL, off to be the side with something earlier and is not returned. We also had the Jordan Love procedure on his non-throwing hand. Yes. So, am I taking Matthew Golden at pick 62? I mean, I do not have him ranked there. Matthew Golden, I have him ranked at 70. I will probably scooch him a little bit higher than that. Matthew Golden, one of my most drafted players. I mean, really, Matthew Golden is one of my most drafted players in every format because I was drafting him in the big board as well. But I gotta show you guys this. After I make this next pick, I will show you guys the clip of Matthew Golden in the boot. It's not great. All right, we are up in 1 pick. We are now on the clock. By my ranking, it would be Pittman or Tracy. We could take Tracy and just be done for a while. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think we just got to take an adult. Well, let's take Tracy. I feel like the tier break at wide receiver is pretty wide. Gibbs and Tracy is a fun little running back room. Didn't want to get behind you. I guess you don't want to be behind at 2 positions. Being behind at 1 position is okay. Could have taken Keon Coleman there. Again, a decent chance that Keon Coleman comes back to us because I believe, okay, Shakir went at 82. Decent chance Keon Coleman comes back. Oh, I got to show you guys this video of Jaden Reed. So here's Jaden Reed doing push. I assume a lot of you guys have probably seen it, but So that's a big old boot on Jaden Reed's foot there. Obviously, no helmet for Jaden Reed. Also, Malik Heath here, 18, just doing some crappy push-ups. But Jaden Reed, I would not expect to be playing all that soon. Oh yes, I did not mean that Golden was in a boot. Sorry, Matthew Golden not in a boot. Matthew Golden healthy. Jaden Reed in a boot, not healthy. I think the Tracy pick ultimately is fine there. Again, Josh Allen, not a guy that you need to stack. Josh Allen had a 50-point fantasy game in which none of his teammates, Josh Allen had a 50-point fantasy game in which none of his teammates scored more than 20 points. In fact, you could maybe even argue the best case scenario for Josh Allen is that none of his teammates score more than 20 in the game because that gives him the rushing. We are fading one pick here to be able to select Coleman. Doesn't happen. Coleman goes to the left of us. A little bit frustrating. We will take Rashid Shaheed here. Interesting that just in this draft, I don't know if this is something in my rankings. I don't know if this is something in the Sims, but I have just not agreed with the sidekick on hardly any of these selections. Don't know if that means anything. Maybe I'm just not on my game today. Maybe the sidekick needs to do something there. Or maybe it just hates this team. Honestly, I would say one thing is it might just be looking at this team and be like, dude, what are you doing? You do not have any projected points. You need to figure it out. But Rashid Shaheed, a nice add there. In terms of second quarterbacks on this team, Tua, it would be a nice addition on this team, assuming the bye weeks are different, which I don't know, which they are. Jalen Waddle is a bye week 12. So Tua would be nice. Shuck, honestly, doable. Second quarterback, I will say one thing that I have also been thinking through with the expensive quarterbacks is even with Josh Allen, even, with Jaden Daniels, with Jalen Hurts, I probably at this stage am not taking third quarterbacks, even if the sidekick or the draft caddy or whatever wants me to, even if the Sims are telling me to, I think I'm probably going the other way there. We've got enough outs. I mean, there's just a lot of outs to league winning guys. Like, we have enough information right now. Like, I don't know, let's just scroll down here to the end. Kyle Monangai, we feel pretty good is going to make the Bears. Will Shipley, weirdly enough, we don't feel that good about Brashard Smith. Like, even Ollie Gordon is a bit of a winner right now. Marshawn Lloyd returned to practice. Even these wide receivers, Tutu Atwell, like Tyler Lockett, Io Manor, actually, we got a little bit of bad news on, but we just feel a little bit better. Not even a little bit, honestly, kind of a lot of bit better about some of these 18th round picks or round 20 picks, wherever you are drafting. I think we feel much better about them. So not that I'm not still doing probably more 3 quarterback builds than the field, but I don't think this one calls for it. I also would be happy. Gosh, I might take Marvin Mims on this team. Yeah, I might take... Christian Kirk honestly makes a lot of sense for this team. Yeah, let's do it. We'll take the slot demon. We'll take Christian Kirk. Davis, why would you do such a thing? Why would you take... You don't even like Christian Kirk. You think Christian Kirk is going to be benched. You think Christian Kirk is injury prone. Well, Shaheed is obviously going to be super up and down, not just due to the nature of his target profile, but also due to the nature of how bad his team is going to be. Jennings does have a legitimate calf issue. Diggs is 32. Kirk is a little bit of a stabilizing presence. Michael Leone told me this once, and I have never forgot it. But one of the big things that we think about with upside is we think that upside comes via efficiency. But upside, by and large, I mean, obviously upside can come from efficiency, as you see with Devin Achane as a rookie, or who am I thinking of? Jameson Williams, the most obvious efficiency guy. But Another thing that can create spike weeks, and this should be so obvious, volume. If you can earn 13 targets in a game, if you can earn, I honestly do not know. Let's go look how many the maximum targets Kirk got in a game last year. Byshell Tootin would be a good pick here. Tank Bigsby would be a good pick here. Probably like Tootin a little bit better. I did move Bigsby down in my stuff a good bit. We're up. Yeah, let's take Byshell Tootin. Again, just a little bit more ceiling there. All right, we are going to look up Christian Kirk's Pro Football Reference. I'm going to guess off the top of my head, Kirk maxed out at 9 targets last season. He played in 8 games. Wow. Nope, Davis, you're so wrong. Christian Kirk last season against the Houston Texans generated 12 targets, 7 receptions, 61 yards, 10 targets a week before that. Let's just go look at this Jaguars loss to the Texans. Who else was available there? In that same game, Christian Kirk for the Jaguars out-targeted Brian Thomas Jr., but notably, wow, Gabe Davis, 5 targets in that game. Diami Brown ass Gabe Davis. But point being, Christian Kirk is a fine selection. Even it just in a build where you are weak at wide receiver, he is a perfectly fine selection. So we now have Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, Josh Allen, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, Juwan Jennings, Tyrone Tracy, Rashid Shaheed, Christian Kirk, and Byshell Tootin. Perfect. It's not that perfect. I have Tajay Spears ranked a lot lower than this. He just went at pick 133 in this draft. I am not feeling good about him with the ankle injury. I'm also not feeling great about CJ Stroud as the sidekick recommended click here. I think there's like a small tier break at running back after Jaden Blue. I also think Keenan Allen is an awesome pick on this team. I think Jacob and Karain were, I just think they were wrong about Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen was a target earning guy last season. There we go. Yeah, you know what? This is disgusting. I do actually have to take Joshua Palmer. Wow. Joshua Palmer at pick 139 in the 12th round is the correlated piece to Josh Allen. Absolutely disgusting. Hate doing it. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Don't want it. But that was that. It absolutely was the right move. It adds to the stack. You do need a stack. All the data we know says that you do want your quarterback stacked. But it just feels dirty. Josh Palmer, the type of player, no one's windmilling Josh Palmer into their lineup. Although he has been a clear winner of training camp, right? There certainly is there's no arguing that. All right, we are up in 1 pick. Keenan is still here. Jaden Blue is a much bigger need, though. So that brings us to our 4th running back. We are certainly looking at a backstacking quarterback situation here. It looks like just a mad run on the quarterbacks. We saw Cam Ward, Tua, Penix, Bryce Young, Jordan Love go. That's just kind of what happens at quarterback these days. I wonder if you guys have had the same observation, which is that you can get boxed out at quarterback pretty quick. Normally, I say that you're on the wrong side of things if you don't just go with the quarterback side of the 2v2. But that was the right side of the 2v2. Like, 1, the team needed Palmer. 2, the team needed something at running back. Although Tyrone Tracy, Byshell Tootin, and Jaden Blue are a real Spider-Man meme pointing situation. Second tight end, man, Okay, Kincaid. Okay, thank goodness. Kincaid had already been picked. What are we going to do? I guess our second quarterback targets now are Darnold, Richardson, and Dart. We need a quarterback who is starting in week 7. What do we think the odds are? Jackson Dart is starting for the Giants in week 7. I don't know. This might be, boys, this might be an Aaron Rodgers team. This might be a Sam Darnold team. A little bit unclear. I think I played this right. Goodness. Did I play this right? The team would obviously look better with Tua on it instead of Jaden Blue, but it would have been very hard for me to click Tua over Jaden Blue. I don't think there's... Now we are in a part of the draft where I don't think there's any obvious guy. I think there's a really strong chance that Sam Darnold is starting for the Seattle Seahawks in week 7. Oh, that's the wrong draft board. You know it might be the middle of August when you have multiple Underdog Best Ball Mania draft boards pulled up in your drafting window. All right, here we go. Who do the Seattle Seahawks play in week 7? Seattle Seahawks, week 7, NFL 2025. The Houston Texans. So we actually have a little bit of correlation there as well. We got Torrey Horton available. We could take Elijah Arroyo. We got guys. So now, with 4 picks left, the team is Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyrone Tracy, Byshell Tootin, Jaden Blue, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, Juwan Jennings, Rashid Shaheed, Christian Kirk, Joshua Palmer, and Brock Bowers. You know, I like it better than the 4 quarterback team to my left. This guy's got to be auto drafting, right? J-Rod Jams. Yeah, this is for sure an auto drafting team. Well, let's find out. Let's see how quick he picks here. An auto drafter will really... Man, an auto drafter will screw your room up. Yeah, this guy's auto drafting for sure with the Pat Bryant pick. All right. Definitely a running back. A little bit of team level correlation with Woody Marks. You know what? We need more of an adult, though. We'll go Rico Dowdle, some week 17 correlation there. So obviously, other than Gibbs, this is a running back room with no adults. We have Tracy, we have Tootin, we have Blue. No adults at all. There should be pretty good week 1, week 17 roll. Let's check the ever faithful Mike Clay projections. What do we think he has Mr. Rico Dowdle projected for? And we'll go Panthers. Rico Dowdle projected for 75 rushes, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 28 targets. Wow. The running back 56, giving Trevor Etienne some work. All right, so Mike Clay does not believe, Mike Clay is probably right. Man. We could take Barner on this team. We could take Elijah Arroyo on this team. I did see the staff is sort of leaning more towards Arroyo. I think I saw my boy Hayden tweeting this week that it's looking like it's going to be a bit more of a redshirt season for Elijah Arroyo. You know, anything's possible. I hope it isn't for the big board stuff, but certainly is quite possible. I'm thinking positionally, we end this one. Obviously, 1 tight end. I'm gonna highlight Jatavian. You know what? I'm just gonna put Barner in the queue to think about it. We definitely need 1 more running back. I would like Keaton Mitchell or Sean Tucker. Both of them are very strong. I'm trying to see if there's an obvious. Oh, you know what? The obvious wide receiver is Torrey Horton. Oh, but he's already gone. Where did Torrey Horton go? All right, we'll investigate that in a moment. Yeah, I think we just take... I'm going to take Keaton Mitchell, actually. Again, I'm chasing this guy all the way up draft boards. Keaton Mitchell. I mean, the Derrick Henry handcuff, man. How are you beating the Derrick Henry handcuff? This is a totally fine running back room. You uber stud and Gibbs. We just need one of Tracy, Tootin, or Blue to hit. You have your adult chaperone, Enrico Dowdle, with some contingent value as well, and Keaton Mitchell. You're not going to complain. All right, Torrey Horton went at 183 to Coochie 02. He knows ball. I've yet to learn ball. I think I probably will just take Jatavian Sanders. What do I win when I win? Yes. What do you win when you win with AJ Barner? You don't win anything. I mean, end of the day, you don't win anything. This is a player with very low ceiling. Wide receiver. I could take Curtis Samuel. Let's just take Jatavian Sanders and be done with it. Jatavian Sanders at tight end. So we got Bowers and Sanders at tight end. As my good friend Nez said on X, the Everything app, if Jatavian Sanders is the guy you need this year, I'll be pricing out several exotic animals. I bet that you could come to the conclusion that Keaton is the handcuff when he played in the first game and Justice rested pretty easily if you thought about it, but I will go ahead and give you the answer to the test because I'm a nice guy. Justice Hill, career high in rushing yards, 60. Keaton Mitchell generated 129 rushing yards in his very first NFL game. Keaton Mitchell is a phenomenally good rusher. Justice Hill, a very bad rusher, but a fine pass catcher. You can think of Justice Hill the way you think of Samaj Pirine. You can think of Justice Hill the way you think of Austin Eckler. If you play playoff best ball, Keaton Mitchell is going to be the most important man in the universe relatively soon. All of those things. All right. Now, I do not want to take Barner. We have a 2-6-7-2. Honestly, I feel fine with this group of running backs. Gibbs, Tracy, Tootin, Blue, Dowdle, and Mitchell. If Sean Tucker is still available, he's not. Okay, I was going to say if Sean Tucker was still available, I would be into taking him. 80 Mitchell I like. Isaac Tesla. I think Isaac Tesla is drawing pretty live to be like a giga sleeper this year. I think Malik Washington is a good pick. I think Kavontae Turpin is a good pick. I really might just take Samuel, though. 18th round, De'Ami Brown also does not feel real bad here. Gosh, De'Ami Brown or 80 Mitchell. I'm not riding with the sidekick on Brashard Smith on this team. There's no need for it. You know what? This one is for all the haters who say I never learn anything. De'Ami Brown, who has less than 110 career fantasy points. Welcome to the team. Final team: Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyrone Tracy, Byshell Tootin, Jaden Blue, Rico Dowdle, Keaton Mitchell, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, Juwan Jennings, Rashid Shaheed, Christian Kirk, Joshua Palmer, De'Ami Brown, Brock Bowers, and Jatavian Sanders. I'm very worried about very, very, very worried about the wide receivers. These wide receivers are very poor. There is a lot of weight on the shoulders of Stephon Diggs and Jalen Waddle in particular, because that is where the ceiling has to come from. Obviously, the tight ends are very strong. The quarterbacks feel really good. Honestly, the running backs, to me, maybe this says something more about me as a real slappy guy, but this is a very quality running back room for me. And let's go back and draft another Best Ball Mania. We have 42 left. Now we have 41 left. Perfect.
The Davis Maddock YouTube channel is made possible by viewers like you. Every subscriber, memby, and super chat goes to ensuring Davis doesn't have to work at State Farm. Thank you.
All right, folks. Let's fill this one up. We are waiting for 4 And this one, nice little time to play the State Farm jingle as we get closer to the beginning of the season. Maybe we'll do another Josh Allen team on this one. Maybe that'll be my new thing. Maybe every day when I put a player on the thumbnail, I'll try and take that player as many times. How come you lowered Tank Bigsby in your rankings? Very simple here. The way that I interpreted the preseason usage is that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to give Travis Etienne ceremonial starts at the beginning of the season. And those ceremonial starts are going to eat into the time in which there's an opportunity for Tank to outplay Byshell Tootin when Tootin is not playing, because Byshell Tootin is a much better player than Tank Bigsby. And if the team is effectively leveraging those guys behind Etienne and not saying Etienne and Bigsby are in their own tier of player, then it's going to be a lot harder for Bigsby to get meaningfully ahead of Tootin, because Tootin is a much better drafter. If average draft position was not a factor, I would rank these players Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, which I guess is a litmus test for how I feel about Matt Stafford's back. But we're fairly close to Devontae Adams, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Puka Nacua banding together for the Los Angeles Rams, and that does not feel great. Wow, there we go. A gift about to be given to TCAR14 here as Bijan Robinson is selected at the 101. Jahmyr Gibbs goes at 3. We are picking at the 111 here. A dangerous part of the draft. Honestly, my internal dialogue with myself right now is that I really actually want to be taking Amon-Ra St. Brown there, but it feels a bit dumb to capitulate on Puka, who did literally lead the NFL in yards per route run and does lead the NFL in yards per route run in the segment of his career. All right, we are up in 2 picks. And I guess, okay, well, never mind. Stranded Tuna selects Amon-Ra St. Brown, so we will be selecting Mr. Oh. Yeah, all right. We're taking Puka. Just like, oh, I mean, how bad can it be? Which is anytime you're asking yourself, how bad can it be in a fantasy football draft? The answer is it can always be pretty bad. So we will select Puka Nacua and Ashton Genty, a combination, by the way, that just would not have been possible. Like what? 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. It's impossible. So I'm buying. I'm medium cautious, trepidatious about Puka Nacua. It doesn't have anything to do with Nacua himself. It has a lot to do with the quarterback situation. No, I did not move KW3 or Charbonnet up. I think Hampton should be going at the 2-3 turn, right where Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, and those guys go. You think Tank is much better? I know Tank has 0 pass catching, but he was a good runner last year. I think Tootin is much, much better. I think Tank is a really one-dimensional north-south rusher, and I think Tootin has a lot more wiggle to his game. I do not think the Los Angeles Rams will trade for Aaron Rodgers. I think there is a 0% chance of that. Now, the 3-4 turn has gotten interesting as well, because a lot of the times you get there and Breece Hall is sitting there staring you in the face. And what do we want to do with Breece Hall? The usage for Breece Hall in preseason week 1, I mean, even the biggest Breece Hall hater could not have imagined Braylon Allen on early downs, Isaiah Davis on third downs, and Justin Fields scoring the rushing touchdowns. Like, if I was to write a script of the bearish possible outcome, the worst case scenario for Breece, it would be they basically turn Breece Hall into Jordan Howard. You know, they give it, it's like if Breece ever has a good fantasy game, it would be like all splash plays or whatever, you know. So I've had to take that one on the chin a little bit, in the sense that I was definitely a early and aggressive Breece Hall drafter. Should have been working in Braylon Allen more than I did. And I was drafting Braylon Allen. I also think on DraftKings and in 20-round drafts, you can do a little bit of Isaiah Davis. Like on drafters, I think you can take Isaiah Davis. I'm not gonna double up on this one. I tell you that much. I'm gonna try and do something a little funky here. I'm gonna take Tedoroy McMillan at pick 35. Thought he was pretty impressive. I actually kind of like the way that Bryce Young looked in that game. And I'm going to try and set up, I don't want severe jury 8 behind me to know this, but I would actually really like to take Xavier Worth. Yeah. So I just don't think I have this combination of players in any draft. Like truly, in any draft I've done, I've been drafting on Underdog Fantasy since January. I don't think I have a combination of Puka, Ashton Jeanty, Tedoroy McMillan, and Xavier Worthy. Almost did Pickens there, but I'm obviously a big fan and supporter of Xavier Worthy. Just this really interesting thing where everyone has just decided he's bad. It makes no sense to me, but everyone has just kind of collected. Well, his haters are very vocal, obviously. But it does not make a ton of sense to me. And this type of build on the right side of the board, 3 wide receivers, 1 hero running back, I think is so strong. It's a strategy worth pursuing. Probably done 900 videos on such a thing, and I don't see any high level strategy element that is any better than this. I don't think if my friend were to come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing some best ball drafts, just kind of in general, what would you outline that I should do on these teams? Number one thing I would outline and tell them to do would be you take 1 running back in your first 4 picks, you mostly focus on high-end pass catchers, and then you backfill the position there. Rashee Rice would probably be the biggest riser in fantasy football if he only got 2 to 3 games. My theory the entire time with the Rashee Rice suspension has been that there was communication from the NFL to Rashee Rice and to the Chiefs that they were planning on doing a 4-game suspension, and that's why he took the plea deal. You know, the NFL just wanted it to be done with. I've also heard that this is a theory that has been floated in the Slappy Central Discord. If you are wanting to participate in the Discord, if you like this stream, if you like us, we would love to have you in the Discord. You can click that join button right down below and get yourself a Slappy Central YouTube membership. But one of the theories floated in there, not gonna point any fingers, but was coming from. It was the idea that actually they want to punish him very severely, and the Chiefs are fighting back behind closed doors. That, wow, I will. I'm actually just going to take Alvin Kamara here. I'm going to take the ADP value because you got to balance your range. If you have Ashton Jeanty, Tedoroy McMillan, and Xavier Worthy, it's good. It's good to balance your range. I guarantee you the combinatorial ownership of Alvin Kamara and Xavier Worthy is some of the lowest amongst 2 uncorrelated players in the National Football League. And now we can comfortably select. We could take Olave. I actually don't want that much Saints, though. I'm actually just going to pull up Igbuka here. And I'm going to select Igbuka at the 62nd overall pick. Again, you're saying, Davis, why would you do that? There are teams that have Igbuka at 107. There are teams that have Igbuka at 86. What are you doing? You're so bad. You're so wrong. To the first point, I would say I don't really care about these things because by the time we get to the money rounds and the things are awarded, the combinations, the duplicated combinations are going to be weeded out by other factors. Namely, who performs in week 16. The other reason being, Igbuka go Burr. Igbuka is a really good player, and I just want to have more shares of him. And I wrote this article today on patreon.com/DavisMattock. There's a link to that down in the description, where I stated that, basically like the most important thing in drafts right now is changing with the landscape. Like the concept of get your guys season. Like I don't think you should be taking Kyron Williams in the first round or anything like that. But I do think that there's a pretty big difference between trying to draft teams that fit better for a May screenshot than winning in December. And as there are many examples of this. The Igbuka at 106 drafter has Judkins at 70 and Rice at 25. Like, obviously not exactly that, but more or less, I think it is a bit presumptuous of our ability to perfectly prognosticate the way in which scores are distributed to say, well, because Isaiah Pacheco was going at 105, or because Emeka Egbuka is going or was going at 95, well, that definitely means you should never take these guys in the 60s. There are a lot of ways that the 2v2 can work in your favor. So my general thought would be that anytime your logic gets too deep down, and the thing that is holding up your logic is being able to predict the distribution of scores in weeks 15, 16, and 17, I would tell you to hold up, slow down, zoom out on the chart. At the end of the day, good picks are more or less good picks. Now is that always true? I mean, how do you define good? I don't know. That's more for Leone than it is for me. That's not the type of logic that they hire me for. No one's ever hired me. Okay. Let's pick here. I don't really want to take Mahomes. I probably am going to capitulate. There's no reason for the drafter behind me to take Mahomes. But there's not really any other skill position player that I care about at all here. I guess it would be Higgins or Tracy. So let's just take Mahomes and see what they do. Also could just take Hawkinson with Puka Nacua, Ashton Genty, Tetaroy McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Alvin Kamara, Emeka Egbuka. Maybe leave the door open for... Oh, Hawkinson went. Never mind. I wasn't even paying attention. Could also take Baker here. Well, what's really the point? Michael Pittman Jr. makes sense. Tracy, you know what? I probably am just going to capitulate and take Jaylen Warren here. Jaylen Warren is a good fit for kind of any build, although 86 is getting close to buying the top on him. Okay, well, Jaylen Warren goes. So I guess we're taking Tracy. Could take Kelsey. You know what? There you go. We're drafting like it's 2024 again. You guys just walked into a 2024 Davis Mattock stream. This is before we got killed. This is before Alvin Kamara scored 50 points against the Cowboys. This is before Derrick Henry scored like every game for the first 14 games of the season. This was before Saquon Barkley caught that really cool touchdown pass in Brazil against the Eagles. Honestly, honest to God, I knew my fantasy football season was over when Saquon Barkley caught that pass against the Eagles. I was so out on Saquon Barkley, and it was so evident after one game that the entire thesis of what I had built my fantasy football season on was wrong. The whole thesis was Chiefs are going to score a bunch of points. They looked like shit on offense against the Ravens. The whole thesis was, these running backs, these Blake Corums, these Justice Hills. The Justice Hill did have a good game. These running back twos, that the field was so wrong about these veteran running backs. And looking back on it, the prices for the veteran running backs in 2024 were laughable. Kamara was free. They were giving away Josh Jacobs. Derrick Henry was going at the 3-4 turn. Derrick Henry, Hall of Famer, Derrick Henry was going at the 3-4 turn. Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle. These are names that people were taking instead of Derrick Henry. You know, we're never going to be able to go back and relive that. How stupid that was. Now, to be fair, I would trade it all for how I felt when Xavier Worthy scored those 2 touchdowns on opening night. That first Xavier Worthy touchdown is one of my greatest moments watching a football game. Just unbelievable. I can't believe how high that high was. It was phenomenal. All right, we're up in 1 pick here. We did kind of hamstring ourselves taking Kelsey there because it's all quarterbacks now. I don't want to take Cooper Kupp. Freaking Shaheed went. There's no quarterback available. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft. We should be good on bye weeks there. Yeah, we're good on bye weeks there. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft, and if Jordan Love gets all the way back to us at 131, I'll be happy to take him there. But that was just dust. So this is a little bit of what I'm talking about in the remaining fluid game. These are horrible dusty picks here. Brandon Ayuk, injured Cam Skattebo. Like Skattebo's ADP is, I'm sorry, Chad. Skattebo's ADP is terrible. All right. Forgive me, Slap Father, for I have sinned, but I am going to select Cooper Kupp at 110. Oh, that's a value hound. That's a good pick. It feels terrible, but like I'm sorry, guys. Cooper Kupp is a better pick than Luther Burden. It brings me no joy to report it, but it is true. All right, so through 10 picks, Patrick Mahomes, Ashton Jeanty, Alvin Kamara, Puka Nacua, Tedoroya McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Emeka Egbuka, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, Tucker Kraft. So we have Love live, we have Darnold live, we have Bryce live, we have Stafford live, and we actually have Shuck live. Now, where did Rashid Shaheed go? Rashid Shaheed went at 99. So I feel like the fun is gone. It's over. Is the fun party on Rashid, like we just can't get Rashid Shaheed every time? That moment of our lives is past. When you say it out loud, it's pretty unbelievable that we want to pick Burden over Kupp. I'm just saying, bro. What? Okay, here. This will be fun with projections. Cooper Kupp by Mr. Mike Clay is being projected for 117 targets, 78 receptions, 939 yards, and 5 touchdowns. A pretty bad season for Cooper Kupp. Is the wide receiver 37 in PPR. Mr. Mike Clay, famously very conservative with his projections, has Luther Burden projected for 66 targets, 43 receptions, 502 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, I'm not saying that Mike Clay is right about everything, but what I'm saying is that Mike Clay is pointing at something that is directionally true, which is that Cooper Kupp is a good pick at 110. Yes, as Ben Johnson said, Luther Burden is pretty good, but he is not close to being ready to play. Sadly, I actually did reach out to Mike Clay, and he's too busy. They got Mike Clay working like an ox over at ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. Sad, but it's true. I am not drafting Dameon Pierce. I'm still steadfastly drafting Woody Marks, maybe a little bit of stubbornness there. All right. We are up in 2 picks. Scadaboo's still available. That's a value hound situation. Frankly, I don't even really want to take Scadaboo here. Market made the decision for me. I'm gonna win you guys back. I'm gonna take Byshell Tootin there again. You guys were stating Davis isn't a slappy anymore. It's all over. How about this? How about a little Dylan Sampson and Byshell Tootin turn there? That now gives us a 1-4-5-2 build. Bryce Young still available. Jordan Love had already gone. Hadn't he? Yes, Jordan Love went at 119, so I never had a chance to pick him. So this is now a much more balanced build. Mahomes, G&T, Kamara, Tootin, Sampson, Puka Nacua, Tetaroya McMillan, Xavier Worthy with our boy Pat Mahomes, Emeka Egbuka, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce with Mahomes, Tucker Kraft. This will be a great Pat Bryant bring back team to have a guy who will carry water to Devon Vele in week 17. In points per clapping on the sideline leagues, Pat Bryant is going to be phenomenal. Pat Bryant is going to be an awesome teammate. In points per healthy scratch leagues, dude, is there going to be a better wide receiver in points per healthy scratch leagues than Pat Bryant? Pat Bryant versus Devon Vele fantasy points. I don't even know. Let's just go back. I'm enjoying checking this document. Pat Bryant projected for 34 receptions. Troy Franklin projected for 14. Devon Vele for 15. Trent Sherfield for 2. Marvin Mims, by the way, up to 65 targets and 22 rushes from Mr. Clay. Breaking news. Just dropped off a Grubhub delivery near a street called Pearsall Place. Do with that what you will. I will take that under consideration. Is Brian Robinson cooked? I don't think so, but I do think he is certainly under threat. Need help. 10-man vanilla keeper league. Brian Thomas Jr. in the 11th, Jaden Daniels in the 12th, Chase Brown in the 13th. Always keep the best player. Always keep the player projected for the highest point total. That is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Oh, yes, I forgot. You know what, guys? I think I'm wrong about Pat Bryant. I think Trey Harris is going to be really, really good in your points per healthy scratch leagues. Your points per healthy scratch leagues, man, you're on the clock. It's round 10, point per healthy scratch league. Pat Bryant or Trey Harris, who do you pick? It's close. You're thinking that one. All right, I need to dial in for backup quarterback here because I'm thinking it's going to be close. Yeah, I'm really sweating getting Bryce Young here. I actually would consider taking a third tight end with Bryce Young because I like Jatavian Sanders more than Bryce Young goes. That is a bit annoying. And we've got 2 options. You know what? Actually, we got to bite the bullet. When you take Puka Nacua, you have to do Stafford. It's probably close to done, but man, what if it's all fake? I just watched Matt Stafford on Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube channel. His golf, it was fine. His back was feeling great. He was golfing real good. Come on, man. Come on, Matty, put it together. All right, I'm not taking Hollywood Brown. You know what? I actually will take Cedric Tillman. People forget Cedric Tillman had a stretch of averaging 18.9. Okay, he went. Running back, Girendo, Chubb, Eckler. Golly, this is thin. I'll take JCM. Did I take JCM on the last one? I don't care. I'm slapping. I got a little bit panicked there, but that was exactly what I was talking about. So like we've got Hollywood who's injured. I don't really want to triple stack Mahomes, honestly. Rashad dead. Thielen, I missed out on Bryce. I don't think you want a ton of Thielen. and McMillan without him. Wandale would have been fine. Guerrero, I'm trying to get off of being my most... Guerrero is my most exposed player, my most drafted player, my highest exposure player. And everyone on the Swolecast today laughed at me because his shoulder is injured. Corain and Peter and everyone laughed at me. Okay, there we go. I did not take JCM on the last team. You know what? I actually do have an update on Hollywood. This is from my friend Greg Branos, Coach Speak Index. He direct message. First off, Greg must be doing this shit all the time because he messaged this to me at 9:19 p.m. Central Time last night. A quote from Andy Reid on August 11th. It's not really a high ankle sprain for Hollywood Brown. It's more ankle foot area. He's making great progress, though. He's running now a little bit, so that's a positive. I don't think he's too far off, but we'll see. He's doing good. So that is better than I expected. So maybe I need to be, because I was high on Hollywood, then he got hurt and he was like, this guy's undraftable. I do not want Hollywood Brown. But I think that is more toward, I wouldn't say wheels up entirely, but the combination of Jalen Royals not being fully ready to break out, like Jalen Royals, I don't think they view as a starting level player for them right now. And the combination of Jalen Royals not being ready to break out and Juju Smith-Schuster being their other wide receiver, it's like, what's the point? And the Rashee Rice suspension. It's like Hollywood Brown could be like a pretty relevant fantasy player to begin the season. We were about to pick at 179. We have a 2.552. You know what? Hollywood actually, or Wandale is actually a very good pick here if we get him. Wow. Talk about the difference between drafts. I got De'Ami Brown in the 200s in the last one. He goes at 176 here. Keaton Mitchell goes at 177. People are learning. The room is adjusting. All right, so we are going to take Wandale here as our wide receiver 6. That balances out the slap, I think, of taking Igbuka at 62. And you know what? A nice fit for this running back room. This is like combinatorial slap and like also responsible drafting. Guerrero goes. I've got an idea. Yes, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It was reported as I select Sean Tucker, and I will return to talk about Sean Tucker here in a second. So it was reported that Mason Taylor had a high ankle sprain. High ankle sprain for a rookie tight end who's on the Jets. I mean, I'm sorry. That is as bearish as it is going to get, right? Wrong. This dude is back at practice. But I do want to talk about Sean Tucker here. So Sean Tucker, last year, everyone remembers Bucky Irving, right? So this was the breakout game for Bucky Irving, this game right here, where Sean Tucker generated 14 rushes, 136 yards with a touchdown, 3 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Sean Tucker for the season averaged 6.2 yards per rush. He averaged 12.1 yards per reception, obviously buoyed by some big plays. Sean Tucker was a very good player at college in Syracuse, but okay, so you say, Davis, well, why are you being stupid? Why would you? This guy's an undrafted free agent from Syracuse. Why do you think he's good? He would not have been an undrafted free agent. He was first team All-ACC, first team All-American, second team All-American, Walter Camp nominee award winner. He unbelievable player, averaged 5.4 yards per carry at college, over 3,000 yards, caught a bunch of passes. He was awesome. Okay, he went undrafted. Davis, you're an idiot. He had a heart issue. I do not remember the specifics, but he had like an irregular heartbeat or something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think that also there's this great See, I can tell a lot of you guys did not watch the preseason video that I did the other day, which is fine. I know that people watch this channel for best ball drafts and they don't care about the recorded stuff. I'm working on that. But I gotta find this. Okay. Here we go. Copy image address. So this is from Matthew Berry at the Indianapolis Scouting Combine. This is his nugget. He says, but the most interesting part of the Tampa Bay running back discussion was about Sean Tucker. Quote from a team source, he has the talent to be a number one running back in this league. The issue is that he's stuck behind Bucky Irving. End quote. Oh, actually, the issue is that he's stuck behind Bucky Irving is not from the quote. This is Matthew Berry. Reading between the lines of the conversation, I came away thinking that they love Irving, they love Tucker, and aren't as enthusiastic about Rachaad White. I bet Tucker overtakes White for the running back 2 role sooner rather than later. You can roll your eyes, you can say whatever you want about Matthew Berry, but that dude is plugged in. People are going to tell Matthew Berry the truth. You know, this is like getting it would be the same if honestly it would be the same if Field Yates tweeted it. So Sean Tucker now has nothing blocking him to being the running back 2. And I think that he can win that job. So I'm going to be happily selecting Sean Tucker. Yes. White is a decent receiver, but does suck as a rusher. Yes, it is from April. It's from the scouting combine. All right, we have 2 more picks left. We have a 2-6-6-2. Man, you know what, Davis? You only live one time on this earth. A little bit of Jalen Royals on Puka Nacua, Tedoroy McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Emeka Egbuka. Team never killed anyone. No need for a third quarterback. No need for a third tight end. The way this is set up. Honestly, any of these running backs are fine. I have my eye on one running back in particular. So I'm going to select Blake Corum with this pick as the final pick. Davis, why did you take Blake Corum? Well, I have this operational theory. Curious your guys' thoughts on this. But I have this operational theory that when a team's starting running back goes down, they're obviously more likely to throw, not even if they are efficient or whatever, but they're just more likely to throw. So the backup running back on whatever team, the backup running back on the Ravens, the backup running back on the Chiefs, the backup running back on the Rams correlates better with their starter and their wide receiver 1. So like when you take Kyle Monangai, you take Kyle Monangai on a Caleb team or whatever, or you take Blake Corum on a Puka team. That's something that I've been turning through in my head, because those seasons where the starting running back gets injured, you'd be more likely to see the team throw. That's going to do it for me here today, everyone. I hope that you guys like the video. Hope you subscribe to the channel for daily fantasy football videos.